We are going live, live, live. Uh-oh. Wait, I'm not officially live yet. Now we can go live. Woo! Welcome to the party, boys. Woo! I hope y'all are ready. Today's going to get a little bit wild, a little bit weird even. You know, there should be enough of you guys who know why I'm wearing this hat. Hopefully. Although there's no excuse for how badly it's been treated and kept. Oh, all right. Let's give it a minute for some of you motherfuckers to get in here. Oh. Okay. All right. Looks like it's about time for us to get started. I hope Julius is watching in because this next bit's for him for sure. All right. Let's go ahead, turn this down, and get started. So welcome everybody. Welcome to Live with Jack number 123. 123. That's a lot, guys. That's a lot. Still rocking and rolling. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys about how exactly... Sabi, you hold that cheers for just 1 second, but I see you there. Today, we're going to be teaching you guys about how to actually find Miss Right and how to avoid Miss Wrong. Because this is something that I keep on hearing from guys. I keep on hearing this as a complaint of like, I don't know where to find the right girls. How do I know if she's the right one? How do I know who to talk to? How do I know how to talk to them? All this stuff. Listen, we're going to go into all that stuff today. But if you'd like to truly enjoy today's lesson, if you'd like to take it to the tippy tip top, yeah, fuck the rain, man. If you'd like to reach the height of humanity, the culmination of all of civilization, all you need to do is grab your glass, your mug, or your flask, a chalice, a stein, or even a cask. Raise it high. Let's make a splash. It's time now for our libation bash. Toast the night and enjoy the mood. Together now we drink some booze. On your mark, let's not wait. It's cheers with chaps, so don't be late. Cheers, boys. I even got my shitty Budweiser just for today. Oh, that is... People drink this? Like, on purpose? Okay. It has no flavor whatsoever. It literally just tastes like water. Anyway, unimportant. All right, now that all the American stuff is over, whew, I can take that off. That is hot and itchy as hell. And let's go ahead and get cracking on today's lesson. So, got my pointer marker ready, and I'm ready to get started. If you find yourself wanting to meet the right kind of girl, there are a few things that you're going to need to do. The first thing, let's see if we can... This light is making a bad glare on here. Nope, that made it worse. Hold on, boys. I'm going to try to make this legible for you. That doesn't do it. Oh, all right, that's not bad. We can work with that. I can handle this. All right, cool. So, first thing you need to do, before you get into any of this other nonsense about like, oh, I need to go to this place and I need to know what to say. I need to get my line just right. I need to get my look just right. I need to do all this. Slow your roll. Because actually, none of that stuff matters until you know who you're trying to meet. Let me explain what I mean. Everybody gets all hung up about having the right line or having the right look or things like this. But the fact is that the right line is not the same for every person, right? Now, you naturally and intrinsically know that. But yeah, of course, Jack, of course, different lines are going to work with different girls. Okay, cool. So you have to first answer, who are you trying to attract? Then you can actually find the right line. Then you can find the right look. Because, okay, I'll come back to this part in just a second. Oh, that Budweiser is not, that's not good. Anyway, so this is a really important point that I want to make here, which is that anything that you do is going to attract some people and it's going to repel other people. Everything you do, having short hair is going to attract some people and it's going to repel other people. Wearing a polo shirt is going to attract some people and it's going to repel other people. Wearing flip-flops or wearing tennis shoes or wearing loafers or wearing a jacket or wearing glasses, wearing sunglasses at night, whatever. Every single thing you do is going to attract some people and it's going to repel other people. Now, your job, if you know who you want to meet, is to do the maximum number of things to attract that kind of girl. But also at the same time, by doing that, you're going to repel the kinds of girls that you don't want. So that's why it's so important to understand the different types and what kind of relationship it is that you want to get into, that you're trying to build. Because if you're trying to build a long-term relationship, but you go out dressed in nightclub fuckboy style outfits, you're attracting the wrong types of girls, right? You're not attracting long-term relationship girls. You're attracting short-term relationship girls, and you're repelling the long-term relationship girls. So this is why understanding who it is that you're trying to meet is so vitally important. Because once you understand the different types, you understand who they are psychologically, you understand what kind of relationship you want, and you understand that everything you do is going to attract some types and repel others, then you can actually start to build a system that is designed to attract the right type of girl for you. I hope that makes sense, because it's going to repel other girls. It's going to repel the ones that you don't want. This is a good thing, right? So you should, first of all, accept the fact that some girls are absolutely not going to like you. They're going to hate you because, of course, they are, right? Anybody who's worth talking to is going to be more polarizing. People who love you are going to love you, and people who hate you are going to hate you. If you're just stuck in the middle, inoffensive, right? That kind of just like Tobey Maguire, right? Like, did you guys ever see the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies? You know how, like, he's not good, but he's not bad. He's just inoffensive. He's like, fine. But here's the thing. Nobody loves him. Also, nobody hates him. So where does that leave you if you're in a situation like that? It leaves you with nothing, right? You're never going to get a girlfriend. You're going to be stuck in the friend zone forever. Now, you won't have girls, like, throwing drinks at you or whatever. Like, that's so incredibly rare, right? I've had that happen, like, 2 times ever in my entire life, and it's been basically once a decade of just constantly approaching and annoying everybody I meet. And every now and then, like once a decade, I might get a girl who throws a drink in my face. It's so incredibly rare. But point is, it can happen because I'm a very polarizing person. But that also means the ones who love me really love me. And that's actually what you're going for. You're going for that more polarizing thing of the types who are most interested in you are going to be the ones that you want to meet. That's why you have to figure out who it is first. Figure out who the types are. And then you can actually start building your system of attraction around them. Now, about a month or a month and a half ago, I did an entire live stream about how to build that system of attraction out. So if you haven't seen that yet, maybe go back about 6 to 8 weeks. I'm not sure exactly where, but somewhere in there, and you'll find something that's about building your system or how to attract any woman, but not every woman, something like that. Now, the next thing you need to do is you need to figure out what the key traits are that you're looking for. This is going to be incredibly important later on whenever we get into the actual relationship stuff. But you need to figure out early on, what are the key traits that you're looking for? What are you trying to build your system to optimize for? Are you trying to build your system to optimize for girls who love sex above all else? Okay, cool. At the expense of what? What are you willing to give up in order to achieve that priority, right? So this is an important thing, is figuring out your key traits that you're looking for and your priority list. What are you willing to give up in order to get that thing? So for example, if you want a girl who she's horny and she wants to have sex every single day. Okay, cool. Is it okay if she's fat? Serious question, right? Because how high is this on your priority list? It might be very high, but if it's not higher than that thing, then okay, you need to build a system that optimizes to this first and then to this second. Because whatever is on the top of your list is your absolute must have. And then everything under that, the further you go down, the more it becomes a wish list instead of a must have. So figure out where exactly your priorities are, what you're willing to give up, and what you're not willing to give up. So what are your must haves? What are your must not haves? Things like that. And we're going to get to that in a little bit as well. But you need to figure out what her key traits are that you're looking for. And then you need to figure out in her mind, what are the key traits that she's looking for in a man? So remember, this is for this type of relationship. So if I want to optimize my system to attract sluts for one-night stands and hookups, okay, cool. What is she most looking for? She's most looking for high energy. She's most looking for physical attractiveness more than anything else. She's looking for has enough money that you can cover drinks in the cab home, right? Some important things like that. These are going to be her top priorities. So I need to build my system around optimizing to those things as well. Because yes, while I am searching for my key traits that I'm looking for in her, I also need to be aware of what she is looking for in me. And this is very important, how she will perceive me in all of those traits. So it's not about how I perceive myself or what I think or what I know. It's about how she will perceive me. This is very important because perception is reality. So if, for example, you say something like, yeah, I'm looking for girls for one-night stands. And you say, yeah, listen, this is how I dress whenever I'm looking for one-night stands. So everybody else should accept that and know it. That's not how this works. You can think something, you can feel something, you can even know something to be true. It does not matter. What matters is how they perceive it. So if I show up at the bar wearing this, and I think I'm dressed for hooking up and for attracting the hottest girls in the bar, but nobody else does, then that's the reality. That's the truth. Because she will act based on her perception, which then affects me, so therefore is reality. Her perception is her reality and therefore affects my reality. This is important to understand because a lot of guys will get into their heads about things, either knocking themselves down to nothing despite the evidence to the contrary, or blowing themselves up so high that they say, like, yeah, like, look at me, I'm fit as hell. Yeah, I'd give myself, a 9 out of 10. Right? Like, no, you're not, buddy. Right? You might think you are, you might feel it, but that's not perception. Right? So being aware of reality, crucial on all this stuff. So now you have an idea of who it is that you're looking for, and you understand the perception of both what you're looking for, what your priorities are in her, and what her priorities are in you and how she's going to perceive you in those ways. Next, you actually go out and you start meeting women, right? Now we're going to get to where to do that in a bit. But first, we're actually looking through some of the red flags and the green flags here because you're not even meeting them yet. Probably for most of you guys, you're probably just on the fucking apps, even though I tell you not to, right? Or maybe you're actually following Papa Jack's instructions and you're going out, you're doing some approaches, you're talking to girls, you're talking to them on the subway, right? I was talking to one of my clients earlier this last week, and he's like, yeah, I don't have any time to talk to girls except on the weekend. And, I work these late hours. I leave for work early in the morning and I come back late at night. And I was like, okay, cool. Do you take the subway to work? And he's like, yeah, most of the time I do. And I was like, okay, cool. So you have 2 hours on the way there and 2 hours on the way back, where you could be 4 hours a day, where you could be starting conversations, talking to people, and you're not, right? So it is an excuse. If you're not doing it, it's just an excuse. That's all that it is. You can use these things. Go out and talk to people. Good. Love all that. Now, continuing on, though, we're looking for certain flags. We're looking for red flags and green flags. Now, this is my particular set of red flags and green flags, at least some of them. This is obviously a very small set. But depending on what types of girls you're looking for, what type of relationship you're trying to build, the red flags and green flags are going to be different. So for me personally, I think that inconsistent communication is one of the biggest red flags. So if a girl doesn't answer me for 24 hours, I usually just delete her and forget her, right? Because what? There's no point, right? And there's never an excuse. There are technically acceptable excuses in the world. I've been hospitalized. Immediate family member has been hospitalized. Something like that. Like, there are things. Dropped my phone in the fucking Han River. Whatever. Like, okay, yeah, possible. Extraordinarily unlikely. And if we're just playing the odds, which we are, because all of dating is just playing the odds. And if we're playing the odds, then chances are she doesn't have a good excuse and she's going to try to make one up. Not worth my time. Not dealing with it. Inconsistent communication. Huge red flag to me. I'm not having it. The next one here is disrespectful. And I wrote here especially about time. Now, disrespect is one of those weird terms that, like, it gets thrown around a lot by people who I'm not sure that they really understand what it means. Some people use disrespect of like, oh, he criticized me. That's disrespectful. Like, that's not what disrespect means, right? There is verbal disrespect, but it's usually not what people call out as verbal disrespect. More importantly, though, is just how does she treat you? Does she treat you like she actually cares about you? Like she's paying attention and she understands what things mean to you? If she's not respectful of your time, which this also kind of goes with the inconsistent communication, but if somebody is going to show up late to, especially like a first date, now 5-10 minutes, right? Like, or waiting on the subway and missed the transfer, like, okay, that's fine, right? There's a leeway window in there, but any more than 15 minutes starts to get a little bit gray area, and any more than half an hour, she just didn't care. Right? She wasn't trying. She wasn't trying to be there at the right time. So to me, disrespect, especially about time, big red flag, massive. I would watch out for that one a lot. And then the next one is a lack of accountability. Now, if you notice, this one actually goes directly to both of these as well, which is, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't look at my phone. My boss made me do this thing. Oh, sorry, I was late. This thing happened, right? It's always somebody else's fault, or it's always something else. There's always some reason, something, instead of just saying, yeah, sorry, I'm late. My bad. Let me make it up to you. Here, let me buy you a drink, or let me get a drink or a coffee on the way there, or let me buy you a snack or something like, okay, cool. Not that the money would make the difference, but making some sort of gesture towards, sorry, I was late. Let me do something, owning it, right? Making that accountability is, I think, a big step, and the lack of accountability, big red flag. This is super common, especially in young girls. So, big red flag also. Watch out. Most of those young girls are pretty fucking trash. Not that the older ones are any better. They're just different. All right, now to the green flags. If she actually makes an effort, to be there on time, if she makes an effort to look good, if she makes an effort to reach out and to talk to you, to start conversations first, if she makes an effort to surprise you with things, if she makes an effort to do stuff, just generally making an effort of some kind, of any kind, big green flag. Love to see that. Every time I see that, that makes my heart smile, and that's good because that means I might want to keep her around, which we're going to get into a little bit later. Next, she pays attention and she cares. She notices things, right? She might pay attention to some shirt you were wearing, or some comment that you made about something that you like, and then she follows up on that thing. She says, hey, because you did this, or because you said this, I thought about getting this thing for you, or I thought about doing this, or it reminded me of this meme or whatever. I know you like this thing. Anything like that. Again, it doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be that she buys you things. It could just be that she sends you a meme based on whatever that thing is. And that's a big green flag. Actually, I noticed this green flag a lot with Paul's girlfriend. She is really, really good, especially about this. She pays attention really well. That's a massive green flag, right? So that's something to notice. Next one. She brings more than just the V. Look, we all know a lot of girls don't really bring much to the table. They bring the V, and that's about it in a lot of cases. If you're lucky, maybe they bring decent conversation as well, but that's not guaranteed. And so the sad fact is that about 50% of girls just bring the V, and then about 20% bring plus a bit of conversation, a little bit of banter, but they aren't actually worthwhile, not really worth being around. They don't really bring much personality. They don't really bring a whole lot. It's kind of NPCs, right? And I would say that any girl who brings more than that that's always going to be a green flag. So pay attention for things like that. If she brings more personality, if she brings more humor, if she brings intellectual conversation, extremely rare, but it does happen. It does happen. It has happened before. I've even got good book recommendations from girls. Again, extremely rare, but it does happen. So when you see things like that, when you notice those, big green flags, pay attention. Now, we might come back to some of the red flags and green flags later on in the Q&A section, but first, let me move on to the right places. Where to meet women, where to actually go out and talk to these girls. Where do I find them? Okay, cool. Again, like I said earlier, all of this is just playing the odds. That's what we're doing. We're playing the odds here. But what we want to do is we want to minimize the role that luck plays in our equation here. So we want to remove luck as much as possible. In order to do that, we need to do a few things. First, we need to figure out who we want to meet and for what kind of relationship. Now that we've done that, we can get inside her head. We have an idea in your mind about who she is, who this girl is that you want to meet. And you can get inside of her mind, get a better sense of what kind of things she would be thinking of. Start looking for places that she would want to go. We're looking for better places than just bar, nightclub, singles mixers, right? Because that's where a lot of guys want to go to meet women. And that's okay if you want to meet the kinds of girls who go to bars, nightclubs, and singles mixers. But don't go to bars and nightclubs and then come to me and say, Jack, there are no more good girls. Everybody out there is just a slut and an attention whore, and they only care about drinking and dick and money and muscles. And you're like, yeah, because you're at the bars and the nightclubs. I don't know what you thought you were going to find there, but clearly you had some image in your head of like, yes, the girl, she's going to leave from Sunday school and then she's going to go straight to the nightclub. Like, fuck off. Right? Of course not. Right? So figure out where is the girl that you want to meet going to go. She might be going to the bars and the nightclubs. She might be, depending on who it is you want to meet. But if that's not her, if she's not the alcoholic type, if she's not the slut, if she's not the attention whore, if she's not one of these types that is looking for quick hookups inside of a bar, then you need to be going somewhere else. In order to do that, you need to get inside of her head. So start thinking about places where people like her tend to go. Think about social groups, social events. Think about hobby groups, things like that. Imagine in your head, if you were this type of girl and you just moved to the city you're in. You wanted to meet new people. You wanted to make new friends. Where would you go? Right? So this is why it's so important to know who she is so that you can get inside her head, so that you can get a feeling for it. Because if you get into her head a little bit, again, this is a girl that you're imagining, right? And if you imagine and you're like, you know what? She's probably kind of shy, a little bit introverted. All right, cool. Where would introverts go to make friends in my city? All right. With that filter on in my mind, let me look at the Facebook groups in my town. Let me look at the events in my town. Let me look at meetup.com in my town and see what's happening around here where this type of person is most likely to go. And then put yourself in those situations, right? So you want to get into her head, and then you want to put yourself in those places where you will have the maximum number of opportunities to meet this kind of girl. Because if you've been doing this right, you already know who she is, and you've already built your attraction system around making yourself as attractive as possible to this type of girl. If you've done all this, then you should already be able to, when you get to these places, start talking to that type of girl. The goal here, the point is to have as many shots on goal as possible. As many chances as you can possibly have to meet That type of girl is what we're trying to build for. We're trying to maximize that. So I talked earlier about, oh, Coot, here, drink some Budweiser. That'll wake you up. It is so full of flavor and wonderful Purple Mountain's Majesty, or whatever the hell they use to make this stuff. Anyway, go to the places where you have the best possible chance to meet this type of girl. And then take that shot every time. Every time you're there, take the shot. Take all the shots. Don't leave them on the table. Don't go in, half-ass it, and be like, well, so I went to this place and there were a lot of girls there, but like I didn't talk to them. And because then you're going to start making up excuses in your head. You're going to be like, well, but like none of them were that pretty, and like they weren't really my type, and like I just didn't really feel it, like I wasn't feeling any of them. Like, okay, cool. You're just making excuses. You're not doing anything. Unacceptable if that's the case. If that's the case, then just why do the work? Why do the work, right? Why do all of the prep work and then go and show up and then be like, well, all that prep work was a lot of fun. Anyway, let's go home, right? Like, don't do that. Let's go out and just actually do the approach. You've already put in so much effort, man. Even just if this is the first video you've ever watched about meeting women ever in your whole life, you've already put in 25 minutes into this. And now what? Take you the 10 seconds to go and approach, right? You've already put in so much effort just by watching this. Take the 10 seconds to go and approach. There's no excuse not to. Take those shots, take the opportunities. And then once you figure out how to do that, this is the cool part. Once you figure out where to go to meet the right type of girl, and you've already built a system designed around attracting her, and you already know what red flags and green flags you're looking for, you already know what your must-haves are and your deal breakers. Totally forgot to talk about these in that section. We'll come back to it in the Q&A. You already know all this stuff. You've already built the whole system. You know where to go. You know what's going on in her head. You know how to talk to her. And then all you have to do is actually start the conversation. What you're going to find is that it's actually really easy to start meeting and attracting the right types of girls because you've done all the groundwork. And now you actually have to start saying no and filtering some of them out and saying, well, this girl, she's good, but not what I'm looking for. This is where it gets interesting, because once you figure out how easy it can be for you to meet women and get dates with the right types of girls for you, you have to actually start turning them down. So this is where, let's try and get the glare a bit better. No, this way. Okay, that'll do it. All right, cool. We're going to filter ruthlessly. Now, this is the hardest part for a lot of guys, because saying no to a girl who's making herself available to you is not something most men are used to doing, and it's not something that we naturally do either. However, it is something that's important to do in order to actually get the right type of girl for the right relationship that you want for the long term. So the first thing you have to do, you have to overcome your ego, because your ego is going to be saying like, no, listen. We don't say no to girls who want to say yes, right? That's not a thing that we do. And look, she hasn't broken it off yet, so like, let's just keep this thing going. That's one thing your ego is going to say to you. Your ego is lying. Your ego actually just doesn't want the situation to change. Because as we've talked about before, this was the same ego that told you not to approach her in the first place. You can't trust the motherfucker, right? He's been wrong about everything so far. What makes you think he's right now? Nothing. So pay attention to that. Remember, your ego is always your enemy. However, in this particular case, what he's doing is he's saying, I don't know what would happen if we stopped talking to this girl. I don't know when the next time is we're going to eat. And so as a result, I want you to stay in this comfortable or at least known situation and not change it. That's what your ego is going to tell you. And now your ego can also present this in terms of fear. And it can say like, listen, I don't know that you're ever going to meet a girl who's better than her. I don't know if you can actually do better than her. I don't know if maybe this is just as good as it gets, right? But it's not. It's not, and it doesn't have to be at all. In fact, one of our star clients from this last year, Tay, man, that guy, whenever he first showed up here, he had a lot of those thoughts. He had a lot of those negative beliefs in his head, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, like it was really that into me, and like I'm getting pretty old, and like, yeah, it's not really that easy, and whatever else. And I helped him push through that, get past the ego, get past the fear, and actually start filtering these girls out ruthlessly. And what happens? Now he's with like a solid 9.5, 10. Like she's a smoke show, guys. And it's because he didn't settle for some bullshit stuff. And also he didn't let his ego and his fear get the best of him. So ignore that stuff, push through it, because here's the thing is that if she is not right for your long-term vision that you wrote down back here, if she's not right for your long-term vision, she's not worth keeping around. Even if you're saying to yourself, yeah, but Jack, listen, like, you don't know. Like, she saw some good. I do know. I've been there. Not that particular one. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. I've been there. I've been in those situations. I've been in those places where it's like, yeah, but you don't get it because this reason or because that reason or because whatever. Oh, it's complicated. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. It is. It is. And you may have fucked up. You may have gotten yourself into a complicated situation because you didn't cut things out when they didn't match your long-term vision, because you didn't pay attention to the red flags and you maybe ignored some of them and kind of glossed over it a little bit. But now is your chance to get out. And yeah, it is that simple. Unless there are children involved, it is that simple. It's literally just a matter of willpower, right? So as long as there are no kids involved, it's simple. You're just done. You're over. Might cost money, might take effort, might cost social capital, might cost a lot of things, but it is that simple. If something is not matching your long-term vision, you need to get out of it. Don't settle. Don't settle for something that isn't right for you. So this actually goes along with, sorry, the glare. All right, this goes along with matching and updating your avatar. The girl that you're looking for should match the avatar you created at the beginning, your whole plan. That's what all of this is built around. It's built around your plan from the get-go. You might have to update your avatar as you go, because there could be things that early on you think are important to you, but later on, as you start dating, you realize that they're not as important as you first thought. And so you might take those off the list and add on something else instead. That's fine. Don't update your avatar to lower your standards, though. That's different. Only update your avatar if it means either raising your standards or if something that you thought was important no longer is, right? If one of your starting assumptions has been proven untrue or the situation has changed so drastically, then you update the avatar, but don't update it to lower your standards, to allow for some of this other nonsense. And the last thing here is that good enough isn't. Like, it just isn't, right? Settling for something that's like, oh, well, I guess I can handle it. I guess I can deal with it. I guess I can make this happen. That's not the way, because all that you're doing